Hey everyone, out on a lovely walk. It's a beautiful night, perfect mood, favourite weather, nice and overcast. That's why I love New Zealand. I love where I live at the moment, which sort of ties into what I wanted to talk about. I've moved recently, as some of you all know, to a place that's more rural, a lot less people than there are in town, despite living in a small country. Once you get out, it really brings me back to a sensation that I've always enjoyed, which in the physical sense you can call just being alone, but more having time to really settle with oneself. It's called a lot of things: peace of mind, alone time, but coming into the new year and towards the end of last year, I've been thinking about the importance of alone time, and in certain aspects learning how to create a healthy distance between you and other people, whether that be family, friends, and I don't just mean in the physical sense, primarily like emotional distance. I've been getting back into meditation more, which was something that I did more often a couple years ago when I first started, and it sort of fell by the by, but I've been brought back into it recently with becoming Christian, and it's allowed me to have a sort of new perspective on creating distance between, healthy distance between you and friends, family, and probably most importantly yourself. I've come to realise that in a lot of ways we are all entirely alone, and that sounds defeatist, right? That sounds like a somber thing to say, but I don't mean it like that. It's simply to say that every one of our lives, the things that sort of make us up, the experiences that we've had, all of these things are extremely complex. Genetic components playing into who we become, along with upbringing and environmental stuff. And all of us understand that we are busy in our lives. We have plenty of things to do. And the level of thought that it takes to really understand where somebody's coming from, or how they behave, the reasons for why they behave, require a lot of thought, a lot of introspection, and ability to see things from another person's point of view. And for a lot of my early 20s, I've put a big focus on, my shoulder's jacked, a lot of focus on how I can best help other people in their lives. That was part of the reason why I started personal training in the first place. And with meditation recently, I've had some thoughts and some experiences after dealing with people and while dealing with people whom I'm trying to help, or understand even, talk to them and find out where they're coming from. And I see tendencies that I used to have, and still do have, although less so now, to let emotions come into play, to become upset. Hopefully the wind isn't destroying the mic. And came to a head recently, just with dealing with some people. And it made me realise that you have to have a healthy separation with the emotions that they have, because you need to understand that people's lives are immensely complex. And even as a person who's coming to a situation where they want to help somebody make a change in their life for the better, and perhaps they have good intentions themselves, they wish to change, and they come to you for help, and you try to help them. Ultimately, it comes down to you have no control over the outcome. I can do my best to assist somebody, but the complexities of their life is literally unknowable. And as soon as you start getting into topics with emotional weight, as everybody usually has, because of their own self-identification with who they are and what they've been through, and quite often it's a case of an inability to recognise and disassociate from thoughts, which is probably the more important part of what I want to talk about, which is when I say you're alone, it's really you, and for a person with a religious framework, it's you and God. Nobody will ever understand you as well as you understand yourself if you are thoughtful about things. So you must learn the skill of creating distance between your own emotions and who you believe yourself to be. Because the moment you start identifying with thoughts, and you come out of the moment, you become emotional, and you start putting up barriers to people who could have good intentions and want to help you. And in my previous years, early 20s through to now, that's caused me a lot of distress, a lot of frustration, anger, sadness, because I am a person who wants to help people as much as I can in the best way that I can. And the way to do that, people will always disagree. But I think now, understanding that the best way to help people is to create that emotional distance within yourself, and recognize those thoughts, and it allows you to step back when you're trying to help people, or you're talking with family, friends, whoever it is, and disassociate from emotion and see things clearly. Recognize when it's time to pull the plug on the conversation. I think commonly and wrongly, people have the idea that they need to completely disassociate from friends or family. Quite often that's going to be bad for the person. Now, don't get me wrong, there's certainly cases where if there's physical confrontations and violence, and you're incapable of handling those situations, then by all means separate. Physical distance is good. But even the act of thinking about that and considering that too early is a sign that you're perhaps letting a person influence your emotions unnecessarily. And whatever the reason, that's probably a fault that you can work on yourself. If you want to be able to help a person maximally, there needs to be a level of removing emotions from the equation to allow yourself to think and see the situation for what it really is. It's getting dark, boys and ladies. And in that case, the best thing, it will require you to not have to, one, abandon friends or family, and work on the only thing that you can improve, which is your relationship to yourself, and through that, with God. People are going to hear that phrase, God. People always get uppity about it. It's obviously a very loaded thing to say. It means a lot of different things to different people, but maybe you're getting an idea of what I mean when I say God in the topic. So perhaps, it's just food for thought coming into a new year. If you're finding yourself becoming connected and emotional with people who you do care about, it's not so much a topic of abandoning them. Try not to blame them. All of our situations are extremely complex, and when it comes down to forgiving a person for perhaps getting emotional with you, because if you don't do that, you'll hold on to emotion and you'll start associating and connecting with your thoughts of the person and your judgment of them, which is ultimately not good for you, which is all you can control. So create and get comfortable with the sense of being alone, how I've talked about. Firstly, and most importantly, through a disconnect of your own thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are not the actions of your past. And the future hasn't happened yet. All you are capable of controlling is what you have right now. So create that distance, learn how to be alone, which ironically might actually help you maintain relationships better, and connect with people on a deeper level. Because plenty of people have plenty of friends, air quotes, but how many of those people take the time to truly understand the other person and develop the kind of relationships that matter? Not many. I believe there's a lot of meaning in our lives derived from those kind of deep connections with friends and family. And with practice, maybe that can be you. But I'll leave it there. Some thoughts, just thinking aloud really, on this beautiful night that is now turning dark. I'll have to come out earlier if I do this again. But all the best, everyone. Wish you a happy new year, happy 2021. For sure there are certainly some difficult times ahead for all of us. So work on yourself. Steer to yourself. Steer to your boat. And then maybe you'll be able to help some people out on the way. They can jump aboard. Alright, catch you later everyone.